I love making angel wing art, and I'm going to show you how I made this one in this video using decoupage and a whole bunch of texture. So we left the house early to go to the store. We usually have to open the store at 10 o'clock. But we left a little bit early because we're trying to rescue some cats. I recently took apart a book and made a junk journal out of it. I have a video showing the flip through, and I have a whole bunch of books that I just took apart, and I'm using that to make this foundation. And I just took it and ripped it up in different pieces, and then I use different size fonts from different books just to have a little bit of interest. You may not see all of it, but I know it's there. And then I don't like straight edges, so I just cut up my paper and I put that to a separate pile that I can use in a future junk journal or for collaging. So that's my whole little stash that I was able to get together, so nothing goes to waste. Hope it goes well. We have one cat carrier back there
and cat food in the floor.
Yes, because we're gonna feed them today for the morning. We're gonna go to the store and then we're gonna go back and try to rescue them. So we fed them last night, so let's just hope this goes well. It's supposed to get really cold and it's raining today. I took this stencil, it's called Aged Wallpaper, and I took some paint frosting and DIY paint and mixed it up. You want to do this 2 hours before you go to use it, and it really creates a nice thick texture and it's perfect for a raised stencil. Whenever I do these pieces of art, I like to have multiple layers of texture, some thinner, some thicker, and so this is just my background and I put it through. I'm not putting it everywhere, it's not perfect coverage. I just want to have the texture behind my angel wings. Now I'm taking vintage linen and I'm going to mix it with salt wash. I actually have never done this for my raised angel wings before, and I wanted to see how I liked it. It turned out okay, but I had to do a few things to it to get it to where I wanted it to be. So I took my mixture and I went ahead and I applied it. My first coat when I do my wings is always a thin coat. I want to make sure I get everything covered very, very well. And then after that's done, I go back and I apply another layer for a more dimensional raised stencil, and I'm using my silicone blade by IOD. I have these available on my website. And then you slowly lift up to reveal your design. This is one of my favorite parts. I like to change things up and create different versions of my raised stencil angel wings, and I wanted to do something a little different for my background. Obviously I started with the full decoupage, which that was a little bit different, and then I applied my paint using the brayer. I'm using Prom Queen and vintage linen. I just want lots of texture, and then I went ahead and I applied a little bit of Hey Sailor, and then I really started liking it. And I'm just thinning it down because that Prom Queen is actually very, very thick. And then I took some of that thick Prom Queen and I put it in one of those little bottles with water, and I actually started dripping it from the very top, and you can see the paint dripping on the side there. It's amazing what DIY paint can do. I'm going to show you here how thick the paint actually is. It creates major, major textures, not coming down. It's a thick blob, and I was able to take a little bit, put it in that bottle, and water it down. It's simply
incredible. It's water-based, so you can reconstitute it, and you can do so many things. My next project, I'm going to show you, that's how thick it was. I'm going to show you how I used it to do an actual raised stencil. So I'm taking some Hey Sailor, and I did the same thing, and I'm just dripping it down, and I'm applying just water with my fine mist sprayer to get it moving and mixing and blending and going down. And this is fun because you can get it to do all kinds of things and go in different directions. Hold it sideways, upside down, spray it from the side, and just get the paint moving. Then just use a baby wipe to remove anything that you don't want in a certain spot, or even to help blend it a little bit.
Got some food. Hey, sweet girl. So one of the many things that we also do is property management, and this is one of our rentals, and we had to evict the lady, unfortunately, because, well, actually she was a young girl. She didn't pay her rent, she wasn't communicating. So anyway, that's not part of the story. The part of the story is that she left 2 cats, and she left a lot of junk, and we're having to clean it up. So we're trying to rehome the kittens. She had 5, and she left these 2, so for some reason. So we're gonna put them in our barn. So I can't find the other one. We need to try to see if we could find the other cat.
This angel wings was actually for a client, and I make them custom made, and she wanted light blue colors, but I couldn't help myself by using Pool Party. It's one of our making powders, and I just put it in a spray bottle mixed with just water, and I start spraying it. I absolutely love this color, and I love how it plays with the other blues. And then I have some Elixir as well, and I created a brown, and I just go back and forth, and I did multiple layers of this watercolor effect, and I just spritzed it and let it dry, and then went back and added more color, and it just creates layers and layers, and it's so beautiful. Now for more dimension and depth, I created a color wash using Gravel Road and just plain water. Color washes are great to tone down very bright colors, or just to change the tone of the piece that you're working on. Of course, you can do this on furniture as well, and it just gave it a really cool dimension. Then, speaking of dimension, I want more texture, more layers. I create that with the IOD air dry clay and the wings and feathers mold, as well as the roses mold. It's just a fun detail. I just love to do it. Just use cornstarch and it comes right out. Look at all the details. I love the Iron Orchid design molds. And then I just figure out where I want to place my feathers. I use different size feathers, and I use the peacock feathers, and I use my Type Bond Quick and Thick to apply my molds down. And I just make sure that they're firmly placed, and every now and then I'll go back and check and then just get them down there. And then this is what it looks like. Again, I'm adding more depth, more layers, more of my watercolor. And then I go ahead and I paint in my wings using DIY's bead board.
All right, we're back. It's raining, it's getting cold, the temperature has dropped, and we're gonna try to get these cats. We can't find the other one, so let's see what happens. Get it.
Just pick it up?
Yeah.
This is one scaredy cat. She is so scared of every sound, of movement, of people in the beginning, but she's so sweet. So this is what it looks like, and it looks great, and you could stop right there. Now my air dry clay cracked a little bit. That's just the nature of it. Sometimes it does that. So I fill it in with more air dry clay and I just let that dry. You could also use paintable caulking. I wanted more texture. The salt wash didn't give me the texture that I wanted. So I had this texture paste and I thought that maybe that would give me the texture that I was after. It filled in a few cracks. And here we go again, applying a little bit more watercolor. Then I painted my frame. I also added some IOD molds to the corners of it. And then I get my texture. I use modeling paste and I used a little bit of a sand texture. They're all by Liquitex. I'll have all of the links of everything I used in the description below. And I just applied the modeling paste with a palette knife and it gave me that texture I was after, and that's that sand. I applied a little bit with some iridescent medium and filled it in. There you could see the sand. It's so cool. It just added some just unexpected different texture. So the cat is in our house. She's in our backyard. She stays close to the house at nighttime. We don't know what she does in the daytime. We are naming her Simone because she kind of looks like Simba. And she is just so loving and so sweet. Unfortunately, we never did find the second cat. But we rescued her and she's doing great. I really like my wings to be white. And so I tried this acrylic paint mixed with the iridescent medium. And I love the way that turned out. I'll definitely be using that in the future again. You can see the iridescent in the certain places, and of course that wasn't enough. I took the making powders and I sprinkled it all over after I had applied Big Top in a spray bottle. I sealed it and it stuck to the Big Top. It turned out so great. I used Silver Lining and New Year's Eve, and then I also flicked on some Golden Ticket. And after I did that, I went ahead and I sprayed Big Top over it to seal it, and I applied several coats of Big Top, and I love the way that it turned out. The making powders have texture on its own because the way that I sprinkled them on, and then the Golden Ticket, it just turned out amazing. And my client absolutely loved her piece of art. She sent me a text right away about how much she loved it, and she sent me a picture of it in her home, and I couldn't be happier. I'm just overjoyed that she loved it. And I did stamp PS 91, which is Psalm 91, on there, but you could see all the layers of texture. You could still see some of the decoupage paper. It's super cool. I hope that you will try something like this if you've never tried it before. And I did actually apply other mica powders, very fine powders that give me a little bit more shimmer and several different colors just to add dimension and depth. I also added DIY Paint's Golden Rule gilding wax on the frame and on the molds that I use on the frame, and also on the raised stencil. Just all of those different elements made it so beautiful, and here it is in its new home.